listening to Bad Decisions with Jas. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, you're listening to Season 2, Episode 5 on Bad Decisions with Jas. Woohoo! Well, a lot has happened in my weekly updates, as usual, nothing new. However, I don't think I'm going to talk about what happened in my week, because it's some pretty big news, and I think I'm just gonna save it for like maybe next week or the week after. I don't know yet. Haven't figured that out, but I figured we would just take a break from the craziness called Jas's life and dig into something even crazier, like the blast from the past. Don't know what it is. Obviously I have a title by this point, but your girl is not the brightest. Yes, but this episode is probably going to be a long one, so buckle up and be safe out there, because some of you might be driving, some of you might be cleaning, some of you might be at work, some of you might be doing whatever it is you're doing and listening to my podcast, which is exciting in itself. But this episode is going to be one bumpy one. I'm a little nervous to get into this because my life is in shambles as always, and I feel like this episode is me talking about how my life is always in shambles, and really the beginning of this episode. Now, I took notes on my iPad because I saw on TikTok, can you even see this? I saw on TikTok that if you had an iPad, you got your life together. So I decided, well, I got this neat thing, got a cute little pencil, let's just take notes and figure out if we're gonna like it or not. Actually, I quite enjoyed it. So that is your girl getting her life together. Although I probably will never have my life together. I probably will always be a shit show. But this episode is a wild ride, and we are going to understand why Bad Decisions with Jas became Bad Decisions with Jas. So we are going into the deep, dark past. I'm taking you to some craziness. Definitely being more dramatic than I need to be about this. It's not a huge, exciting story. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of it, but what I do remember is what I'm going to share with you. So let's set the motherfucking scene. Okay. It is 2011, ladies and gentlemen, and the trends in 2011 were, I don't know what they were, but my trends in 2011 were being gothic and having crackle nail polish on my hands, or having long black nails. Like, I'm talking about long nails. Like, if I had, like, these are, you don't understand. If I had to wipe my ass with those nails to this day, I probably couldn't do it. I probably would be like, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I hold a tissue paper? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. It would just be too much. But I'm emphasizing nails, and we don't need to emphasize nails. I'm sorry. But the point is that in 2011, I was a freshman in high school. In an all-girls high school, mind you. All-girls high school. What was I thinking? Why did we do this? Whatever. But my elementary school was also in a Catholic school, so it was Catholic school to Catholic school. And even though I was like in this gothic phase, my sister will tell you the same thing. Like, when my baby sister, when she thinks of me, she thinks of like my gothic stage when it was like all black everything, as if somebody had died on a daily basis. Don't know what I was thinking, but I was thinking something, and whatever that something was, whatever it was, but this was the beginning of the girl that we know and love today, called Bad Decisions with Jas. Ouch, hit my hand on the desk. Nice, good job, Jas. But yeah, this was the beginning. This was the beginning for me as who I am today, and this was the beginning to probably the years of my greatest downfalls. I would say so. I think after I graduated high school, things were looking up a lot more, but the butterfly effect, man, I say that every time. One bad thing happens, and then the rest just follow, and that's just the path you're meant to take. But my freshman year of high school, I was an honor student. I think I talked about that before. I was great. And this was, Catholic schools are a little bit higher, education-wise. So for me to be an honor student, I'm gonna pat my own back here. But seriously, I was an honor student. I played sports. I was playing the point guard in basketball. I was playing volleyball. I played soccer. I played all these sports, and I was living my best life my first semester. And then my second semester came around, and there was the girl that changed it all. Now, I took a minute to really think about what I wanted to name her. Did I just want to full on say her name because I want to find her, reach out to her, whatever it is? Or do I say no name, or do I just think of a great name to call her? I thought to call her this name was genius. Full-on genius. So we're calling her Oz, okay? The reason why we're calling her Oz is because this girl made you feel like you were literally walking down a yellow brick road to greatness. But the thing about that is that when you got to the end, it was all just a ploy. It was just a scam. It was never actually to greatness. It was just to your downfall. She was toxic. She just pushed herself on everybody to get them to like her, to get them to respect her, to get them to be like her. And I was no different, because I was this innocent girl who just graduated from elementary school. I'm a freshman in high school, so things are completely different for me, and it was definitely an adjustment I didn't know if I was ready for, but you don't really have that choice. I mean, your life changes all the time and you just can't control it. So when I met this girl, I was like, oh my god, it is so nice to be recognized, so nice to be noticed, because in my elementary school, I was the odd one, I was the weird one. Nobody wanted to hang out with me. I had one or two friends, if they weren't even people who like to fuck with me. I wouldn't know their intentions, but it just whenever somebody talked to me in elementary school, it was literally to make a joke and make fun of me, and nobody ever actually wanted to get to know me, which is sad. And then I graduated and then I got to a different high school, glowed up, and then everybody was at my dick. So anyways, different story for another day. But I just came to this new school, and this one girl really recognized me. She wanted to get to know me. It was easy to be her friend because she was easy to hang out with. She was easy to talk to. But the thing is, she was my downfall, because instead of, prioritizing my studies in my school, it was me now trying to hang out with her all the time, not really paying attention. I'm surprised I passed freshman year, honestly. I think it was the first semester that really held me up, because if I didn't have honor roll first semester, it probably would have been in high school one extra year, which nobody likes to do. But so yeah, and that's why I think that set the tone for the rest of my future, I should say. Because she noticed me, because she recognized me, and it was a new feeling, it was a new emotion. And obviously I make it sound like she was my girlfriend, or we were in a relationship together. No, it wasn't like that. It was strictly friendship only, and she just made me feel as though I was so important. But the thing is, it was never reciprocated. You know what I mean? So I would worship at her feet basically, but she wouldn't do the same to me, because to her she was a god. And I don't like saying that, but it's true. I mean, I would hang out with her, but she would never hang out with me. Hopefully that makes sense. But she would never take the time to come see me. She's never been to the house that I grew up in, ever. Ever. I can't remember one time where she was. It was always me driving to her, going to her house, doing things she wanted to do, hang out with her friends. She never once met any of my friends, and we were friends throughout high school, even though we didn't go to the same school anymore. She ended up leaving the Catholic high school as well and went to a public high school, so we were both in that manner. And every time we would hang out together, it would just be like her forcing me to do something that would make her feel good. Like, the number of times I was asked to step out of my boundary is beyond me, and it doesn't make me feel good. And I didn't realize it until after I graduated high school, after I realized, holy crap, these were a lot of boundaries that this girl made me cross. And I think it's just her. I think it is just her who ever made me cross boundaries like that. I don't think it occurred to everybody else that they could probably push me if they wanted to. Although by the time I got to sophomore year of high school, I was snappy. I was very much like, I'm gonna stand up for myself. But I still don't really do that as much. Like, never mind, different topic. Sorry, getting off topic. Alright, let's continue on to these notes. But at parties, she would force me on guys all the time. She would force me to just do a bunch of things. Like, this story is a little bit weird, but I'm gonna share it anyways. We were at a party once, and she was like, come with me to the bathroom. Normal thing, always go to the bathroom with girls. Yeah, that sounds weird. But girls will understand, like, you go together, that's what you do. So I went with her, and like, this girl was like, let's put on a scene. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Again, super naive, don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time, but she was like, let's put on a scene. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're trying to say. And then she just starts moaning in the bathroom. And that's weird. That's very weird. And when we came out, everybody was by the door like, what are you guys doing? And like, I don't think I understood it at the time, but I was like, I have no idea what the hell they're doing. I'm like looking at them back the way that they're looking at me. And I like felt like pretty uncomfortable. This one time we were hanging out at her boyfriend's house, I believe, and she was like telling me before that we went, you have to kiss him, like you should just kiss him, like constantly. Like, first of all, I'm gonna do whatever I want with my lips. Second of all, don't tell me what to do. But again, naive little girl, I didn't know anything. So I'm just like, yeah, okay. I just want to be like her. Like, I just wanted to be cool the way that she was, even though she wasn't. So I remember the guy and we came back upstairs because it was in the basement, and he's like looking at me like we both should probably do what the fuck we requested, but we both ended up going in for a hug, which was nice. We mutually agreed that this is not what we wanted right now. And my mom came to pick me up, and I went home, and I never thought about that situation until I was like analyzing a lot of the stuff that I put in a box, but I'm going to save that for another episode. She really forced me to date guys. She would just make me meet guys and like ask me to date them, basically to make herself feel better about the fact that she's dating somebody, I guess. I don't really know what her motives were with it, but I just know that it was like her always forcing me on guys. And it's like, why do you have to force me on guys? Like, I'm just perfectly fine being single. I don't even know like anything about a guy. The only thing I know about a guy is what I learned in health class. I'm 14. Like, I'm literally still pretending I am a mermaid in a goddamn pool. I don't know anything about guys. All I know is that I just want to have a crazy imagination and run with it. I don't know why that was so hard for people to interpret. Just because somebody else moves a bit faster in life doesn't mean you have to make other people around you move just as fast, which is a fact that took me a very long time to learn, because I'm out here in the military paying my own bills, but people my age, when I first joined, were still living with their parents, just going to college, not really doing anything with themselves, which makes sense because I had to move away from home and learn this the hard way. So I don't know why she was always forcing me on guys, but the shoplifting that she did was crazy, and forcing me to shoplift, and I wasn't a fan of that, because to me, I always was taught if you shoplift, go to jail. I don't freaking want to go to jail. I'm a freshman in high school. What? Her makeup every single time we would go out was like caked on. And at one point, I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to like put a bunch of mascara on, and it was like more than what's on my face right now. For those of you on YouTube, it's crazy the amount of makeup that she had on her face at that young of an age. Like, it's bad for you, kind of how much, you know? But in her sexuality, she was a 14-year-old girl, and she probably did a home run already. Like, her sexuality was so big for her. Like, she would literally wear shirts and wear like double the bras just to make sure her boobs were up. Like, it's very she was promiscuous. That's what she was, very promiscuous. And I just like to live life on the wild side, I guess. And this really set the tone for my future friendships, for my future relationships, because for a lot of reasons that took me a lot to understand, but these were reasons that were both with myself and with others. I think this is where the whole I get bored easily comes from. And I know it's not right to pin it all onto one person. I'm not pinning it on Oz. I'm pinning it on the facts that she taught me and what I thought for a long time were right and how I should be. But really, nobody can tell you how you should be. You should just be content and know that you can sleep at night with who you are, how you behave, and all of that information. So for me, and again, this is me like being transparent, because obviously it takes a lot for somebody to admit their faults and what kind of person they were. But I was very, I very much chose people who noticed me, and when I felt like they weren't noticing me anymore, I would toss them to the side, okay? Like, it sounds fucked up, and yeah, maybe I still have a little bit of those tendencies still, which I'm still working on, but I guess not, because I'm getting married. It would just be like, oh, this person, like, he's not, like, once you get, like, comfortable with somebody, they kind of tend to do, like, less of those things still, naturally. It's a natural occurrence. It's not a bad thing. It just means that you're getting comfortable with each other. But I felt like when I wasn't a priority, when I wasn't the one being noticed, I would literally like write their name on a piece of paper and throw it in the trash can and be like, that's how I feel about this person now. And it's, oh my God, guys, that's fucked up. That's fucked up and selfish and not right at all. But that's who I was. I always chose chaos over peace as a kid. I always chose the dramatic side of things. I mean, I still do. But I mean, like, if I have an ability to put out the fire, I'm gonna add lighter fluid to it instead, is what I mean. Always found ways to make it a bigger situation than it needed to be. I mean, and that's all her doing, like what she taught me. Again, not blaming her. I'm not blaming anybody, because in the end, these were still my choices, my decisions, and I did them, and I have no one to blame but myself in them. But I always did. I always try to find the drama, I guess. And now that I'm older, I'm just like, oh God, if there's any kind of drama, you're like blocked. That's who I am now. But the biggest one that I learned was submitting to situations instead of speaking up. And this says a lot about me today too, because I still am a pushover. You can still tell me something and I'll believe it, and then I'll do it. And I don't speak up for myself the way that I should. Like, a lot of people are really snappy and they can really like be like, no, this is inaccurate. But me, I'll just take unfairness and I'll complain about it, but I won't actually say anything. I'll just be like, okay, that's it. It was fucked up, but that's it. You know what I mean? That is the crazy ride. I mean, it's not, I guess it's not as crazy as I wanted it to be, but I think it's pretty crazy. But this is like who I am today, and I'm very happy with myself. I love myself. I love what I do with myself. But the biggest thing from all of these stories that I picked up with is manipulation. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about manipulation. And I say manipulation because of many reasons. So I'm going to source my sites today. I got most of this information off of time.com. The rest of it was kind of Google. The rest of it was also personal experiences. So that's it. So a lot of what I'm going to say today is from a therapist. Her name is Sherry Steins. That's her name. And she's kind of a genius. I really liked what I read today, or what I read recently, not today necessarily, but and she just kind of made me have this topic come to life and really assess this. Now, when I was writing the story, I'm going to be like 100% honest, didn't really understand what it was either. I thought for a long time it was me putting it in a box like I had said, but more than that, it was manipulation. And like I said, this is going to be a long podcast, so buckle up because I'm getting into every nitty-gritty detail I can think of, okay? So a lot with manipulation is dependency, reading off my iPad, I'm sorry, using you for their own gain, big one. I would go so far to say that they are indeed incapable of love, manipulators. I mean, I do think that there are moments that they can love someone, but more often than not, they are incapable of love. They use insecurities against the person that they are going against with, whatever it might be. Hopefully that makes sense. And very much a sense of gaslighting. So if you don't know what gaslighting is, it's basically a false sense of guilt. Not accurate. I would also go so far to say that most of the time, manipulation is emotional blackmail. It's not about any rational or logical reasoning. It's just more of this person's ability to control your mind and control your emotions and guilt trip you for everything. Now, manipulation can be completely unintentional, but most of the time it is intentional. And with this girl, I noticed that, yes, I was very dependent on her friendship to me because of those feelings that were so foreign to me that I didn't even realize I needed or wanted or what they even felt like. And it was different, the fact that she was providing those feelings for me, even though it was a one-way relationship, but I didn't know that at the time. So I was very dependent, always wanted to hang out with her. Like, I would literally cry if I couldn't hang out with her. That's how dependent I was on this girl, which says a lot, and that's so unhealthy. Like, I wish I could talk to past me because that girl, anyways, they would use you for their own gain. So with her, she used me for her own gain by forcing me into relationships. She was using me because she wanted to comfort her own needs and her own wants and what she was doing. She basically just wanted me for some kind of closure in her life, why she is the way that she is. And again, I didn't know it at the time, but I do know what a manipulator is, and I know it now more than I did then. They're incapable of love, like I said. I would dare to say that. I really would. And the reason I dare to say that is because manipulators, oftentimes, they are only inclined to help themselves, not help anybody else. So if helping someone helps them, then they'll help you. And it'll seem like a nice deed, but really you'd never know someone's motives. Using insecurities against someone. So, me growing up thinking I was ugly and I wasn't pretty and that I had nothing to offer just because of things that people had told me as I was growing up through elementary school, she very much used that against me. Basically, it was like if I didn't hang out with her, I'd be ugly, like inside and out. That's what she would tell me anyways. And this girl, Oz is all kinds of fucked up, okay? And gaslighting. She did a lot of gaslighting, like if you don't hang out with me, then you're just kind of a bad person, which would make me feel guilty. So in the end, I would end up going to hang out with her anyways, so that way I can ease my guilt. And that is kind of a bad thing. But I've noticed that manipulators come in many different forms, but the two most common that I have seen is, drum roll please, the victim and the aggressor. So the victim is the person who always plays the victim, thinks that, so they're manipulating you, but they don't see it that way. They see it as asking you for a favor and you not coming through with it. And then they feel like because you didn't do that favor, because you called them out, they're the ones who are the victim. And my father actually is this kind of person, so I'm very familiar with the whole victim side of it. He will never take accountability for his actions. He's just quick to blame everybody else and then act like he's the one who's the victim. But he's not. He's the one who literally created these situations and caused them himself. And he's not taking accountability for the circumstances that he created himself. And then naturally, there's the aggressor, the person who gets physical with you, the person who puts their hands on you and makes you feel like a POS, So manipulation, like I said, is basically emotional blackmail. So they're basically guilt tripping you into everything. They make you question your morality, what you actually think is right. That's why when you leave a manipulator, you realize that the entire time there were boundaries that you constantly cross. There's no compromising really with a manipulator. I think you just have to manipulate them back and guilt trip them back, because at the end of the day, we all have feelings, we all have morals. So when you guilt trip a manipulator back, you're giving them a taste of their own medicine. And by doing that, they will also understand. But it really depends on the person. It's way harder to do that with a manipulator. Like if my father, for example, you couldn't manipulate him back, I don't think, because he's just so intelligent, so clever, so slick. Like he could literally get out of any situation if he wanted to. So I don't know, it doesn't always work for everybody, but it's the manipulators to blame in the end, and there's no responsibility on your end. And Sherry Stein said this one thing that I relate to 210%. We're gonna be dramatic. And she said, we are not responsible for anyone else's feelings. Let me say that one more time. We are not responsible for anyone else's feelings other than our own. Can we feel empathy towards someone? 100%. Can we feel that maybe a little bit bad for someone else? Pity? Yeah, of course, we can feel that for other people, but somebody's actions and the feelings that their own actions caused them, we are not responsible for. I'm telling you, okay? When I saw that she had said that, I was like, holy crap, it hit me in the heart, because the accuracy of her statement is crazy. It's so good. It's perfect, and I'm glad somebody else said it and it's not just me. We are not responsible for anyone else's feelings, no matter what you think, no matter what you feel, no matter what manipulators may make you feel like. But however they feel, that's on them, especially in a situation where they created the chaos themselves. So, huge thing. I loved reading that. I loved reading up on this. Did make me a little bit insecure, because I was just like, I might have a few manipulator tendencies. But this brings me to my next question. Can manipulation be taught? And the answer is abso-fucking-lutely. It can so be taught, because it's like a bad habit. And a lot of times those bad habits are learned from your parents or your mentors or your just people who you grew up with, your guardians, whoever it might be, your bosses. Those bad habits can be picked up off of those people. Whew, I need to breathe. But And most of the time with bad habits. So I might smoke, but tomorrow if I decided I wanted to quit, then guess what? I can break that bad habit. The biggest thing about growing is learning your bad habits and breaking them. So that's what I wanted to say about it. What can you do if you're with or you know a manipulator? So I know so many women who are with men who are manipulators. Myself, I was with a man for many years who was also a manipulator, and I didn't realize it until I finally was in a situation where I could safely remove myself from the situation. And it's hard to say what you can do. I mean, if you know one, you can try and call them on their shit, but let's be real, 9 out of 10 times they're gonna play the victim. Most of the time, I've always seen them play the victim, no matter what. Accountability is just not a word in their dictionary. They don't know what it is, and they don't know how to do it. And then there are those people who actually do want to know, so I would call them out on it. And then depending on how they react with it is how you know how to proceed with the situation. So if you just outright say, look, you're kind of manipulating me, depending on how they respond to that, says a lot about their character. I read up on this one guy who said, I manipulate my wife. And I hate that about myself because I don't even actually know that I'm doing it. I just kind of do it. And I'm reading article after article, trying to see therapist after therapist so that way I can get out of these bad habits, because the last thing I want is to make my wife feel like she's not good enough, or for my kids to grow up and be like me. Like, no person ever deserves to be with a manipulator. It sucks. And again, there are moments where you are unintentionally being a manipulator and you don't even realize it. There are moments where I'm like, okay, well, I really don't want to do this today, but if you want to, and automatically that's me guilt tripping hubby, because it's like I'm trying to make him feel good, but in the process I make him feel guilty because he's completely aware that I don't want to do something. And I'm not trying to, it's just that I think it's just a bad habit that I have picked up off of my father for so many years, and here I am today. And I talk a lot of crap about my dad, I'm aware of that, but some of it is also my mother too. She's very good at guilt tripping people. Sorry, I'm gonna call you out. So it was a trait that I picked up off of many different people and both my parents. So there's that. And although manipulation is oftentimes not really moral or immoral, it can be immoral. So a lot of serial killers who do things with their significant other or their partner, most of the time that's an immoral situation. Killing somebody is immoral, but they're guilt tripping their other person. I see a lot of manipulation actually in Suicide Squad with the Joker and his girl. Don't remember her name, but he basically kind of manipulated her. Am I right? I would say so. And now all of a sudden she loves him or something like that. But yes, so I think that kind of concludes my entire topic on manipulation. It's a huge topic. Every topic I talk about, I usually talk about it, very, very vastly. And I enjoyed this topic, and I enjoyed being able to open up a little bit more about myself in a different way anyways. And manipulation was a really good way to do that, because again, I do know a lot of women who are in relationships with those manipulative men, and it's really easy to tell them, well, you should leave him, and I got stuck in a multiple years long relationship because I felt as though it was unsafe for me to leave. I was manipulated so bad to the point where I thought if I left, it would be the end of me. So I think the last thing that you should ever tell somebody who's in a relationship like that is to leave them. And I'm guilty of it. I have done it for so long, but it just kind of comes to a point where it's like, well, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. And whenever you feel like you're ready to leave, then okay, I'm here to support you. And one girl knows who she is, so when you're ready, let's go, we got this, And again, if you know a manipulator, they're really hard to talk to. I would know. My father is one of them, and if I can't even reason with my own blood, my own family, then I think it would naturally be really hard to do that with another person. So that kind of sucks in itself, and it just really depends on how you approach the situation. I think if you do end up going up to someone and say, I think you're kind of manipulating in like in a respectful way, then depending on how they react will say a lot about who they are. So if they're like, okay, wow, I didn't even realize that, let me look into it, let me see if I can fix this about myself. And then there are those people who just get aggressive or play the victim, and then those are the people that you know you should stay away from. Sometimes you gotta point out that red flag and be honest with it up front, because the thing about manipulators is not so much that they're, you know, bad people or you know, just horrible individuals. It's the fact that manipulators don't really know how to ask for what they need, both to themselves and to those people around them. And I think that kind of says a lot about a person, because I think it's just that they were never taught the right way. So what they think is what they know, and what they know is what they do. And that, I mean, that's kind of, it's just a cycle that just keeps being taught and taught and taught. And eventually one person is going to be like, no, this is bad. I don't want to be like this. I want to change. I want to be a better person. And then that's how it happens, because the last thing I want personally is for me to have my kids learn from these manipulating ways. I don't ever want my kids to feel guilty if they don't want to do something. They're their own people. I brought them into this world, and I want them to be happy and live their lives. And whatever they do, whatever they want to do, they're going to have my support with, you know, all the time. So, yeah, that's all I have on manipulation for now. Feel free to ask questions. I will answer them in the next episode, because we're already at 36 minutes and I'm not even done yet. So let me continue. I need a tea break. Hold on 1 second. Don't know how people do this. I'm really actually proud of my notes. Like, they're so cute. How did I do this? Oh, no way. How did I do this? I'm so proud of myself. But, okay, anyways, let's get into the real bad bitch business that we've been on. I have been on Twitch, which has been exciting. I officially have a schedule for you, so every Wednesday and Saturdays, I am on at 5:30-ish, sometimes earlier, but I do upload an Instagram story whenever it's about to happen. Could be a minute before, it could be an hour before, it kind of just depends. That's what I've noticed the last 2 times that I've been on. And I've been making this cottage house, which has been a shit show, and I've had a lot of people doing commenting and me answering questions, which has been a lot of fun. So shout out to you guys. Also wanted a shout out to this one sweet girl who deserves this shout out, because no matter what I post, no matter where I post it, she is always commenting and telling me that I am beautiful, and she's like my hype man, and I love her, and I told her I'd give her a shout out, because she's those kind of women in the world that you wish there were more of. So shout out to her and her beautiful soul, because that is, she's been doing this for years, and like, we barely knew each other in high school. Well, we sort of knew each other. I mean, we talked here and there, but she's so cute. So I figured I would just give her a cute little shout out and say hey and hi and you're beautiful. So that was a shout out. Also wanted to really appreciate you guys for the feedback. So my aunt told me I should probably start sourcing my information if I am going to use something in my podcast, which I did that today. So high five for me. And I did that today, yeah. And I also wanted to shout out my other aunt. She is so cute, so honest. Send me a paragraph. Haven't gotten back to her, honestly, because I am a shitty person when it comes to replies. Not on Instagram all the time, but when I am on Instagram, that's when I'm present. And once I get off of Instagram, it's kind of it. Like, I'm not present anymore. Probably has a lot to do with anxiety and the fact that my mind is racing so many hours in a minute. So many miles in a minute. Don't know why I said hours, but it's just going crazy. So it's like, bored, okay, on to the next thing. So I think TikTok is probably the only app that I could literally scroll on for hours and not even realize it. And then once you get to the point where it's like, okay, hold up, you've been scrolling for way too long, and then that's when I get off. So yes, Twitch every Wednesday and Saturdays. Kind of do want a bigger schedule. I do want to start streaming just a little bit more, but no for sure's yet. Working out my schedule. If you think it's not crazy, you're wrong. So, because I still gotta like balance cleaning and being a good wife and cooking and stuff. Not that I cook. I probably cook like once a month. Anyways, different topic for a different time. So, I think this is all that I really wanted to cover today. Guys, for those of you in the military, you're gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about. For those of you who are not, you are not gonna know. I made staff, which is great, and all weekend we have been getting trashed celebrating this. And I'm not really an alcoholic drinker, but I was like, you know what? This is a significant moment in my personal life and in my career. So hubby and I have just been going at it. And it's been great, and my head hurts a lot, but that's fine because life is great and life is good, and making staff is a significant moment in your career. Even though I'm not going to make it a very long one, I still want to do the most that I can do in my career. So woohoo, go Jazz, because that studying for that was the most intense thing of my life. And shout out to hubby who actually pushed me, and nobody believes me. He keeps saying you would have done it yourself, but I don't think you guys understand how much he pushed me, and I'm thankful for how much he pushed me, and I love him for that, and I respect him for that, and I really do got a good man, guys. I really do. So I figured we could do like a Q&A, him and I don't know how much he'd be into that, but I have to talk to him and I have to convince him, so wish me luck. I thought doing a Q&A would be pretty funny. And yeah, because we laugh a lot. But I think that is all I wanted to say today with this long podcast. Love it. We love it. And I think that's it, guys. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for downloading. And you guys should follow me on Instagram because that is where I am the most active, and we like it when a girl is kind of active. And yes, thank you so much for listening. And if you're new here, hello, welcome, because you're kind of a champ for making it throughout this 40-minute episode, which is 10 minutes longer. I keep saying I want to cut it shorter, and I don't. So bad decision with Jazz? No, because today's topic was actually a good one, and I'm actually very happy about it. But that is all I have. So without further ado, be safe, be happy, and be loved. XOXO Jas.